Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome to the next episode of Command Me. Um, I don't really know what to call this episode, but we are here to start a new. It's not really a new part of this series, but it's a new chapter in this series. Obviously, Command Me is a very different series from just a Let's Play. The idea of this is to tackle a different thing almost every time, and this time I want to tackle something really different. I mentioned in my, I believe it was either the second or both of the intro to this series, that my Depala deck is probably on the outs. I love Depala. I think she's a super cool card. I love my vehicle deck. I bought custom sleeves for that deck, but vehicles in Commander just really don't function. Sometimes you can get good results, but you really have to be not targeted by the table. You really have to get some kind of dinky creatures to stick around. Vehicles themselves are strong, but having to spend two creatures to attack each or block each turn with one good creature, there's just such better things and more valuable things to be doing in Commander, and especially when everyone talks about there's different levels of Commander. If you go on the Commander subreddit or something, there's like, 75% or just casual or competitive or spiky. There's so many different ways to refer to different like not difficulty levels, but like how seriously you want to take Commander. And Depala doesn't function with almost any of except anything for like the most absolutely casual stuff, and even then there's just not enough synergy in Depala to really make the vehicle tribe work. Like there's only two cards that in her colors from Kaladesh that permanently turn a vehicle into a creature, and those are busted, but other than that you're just basically crewing up with Depala, leaving yourself open. It's like the weakest kind of Boros deck. So like I said, I have been looking to design a new deck, and I was originally, I know I'm kind of going on a story here while there's cards on the screen, I'm sorry. Originally, I had actually thought of a hilarious thing. I have two copies of foil Dragon Lord Ojutai. I can actually show you what he looks like since he's going to be in this deck, potentially. Where are you, Ojutai? There he is. He's really good. 5/4 for 3 blue and white. Legendary Elder Dragon. Flying, has hexproof as long as he's untapped. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand and the rest on the bottom. I wanted to play him as my commander in a white-blue deck, and then I wanted it to be Sphinx Tribal. Why Sphinx Tribal? Well, because during the Amonkhet block, if we open up Scryfall, since I'm trying to use this more, Unesh. Here he is. Unesh, the Cryosphinx Sovereign, came out. A 4 blue and blue, 4/4 flying, legendary Sphinx. Sphinx tells you cast costs 2 less to cast, and whenever he or another Sphinx enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. An opponent separates these cards into 2 piles. You put 1 into your hand and 1 into the graveyard. This is basically another version of the card Fact or Fiction. Where the... what? Really? Okay, whatever. Fact or fiction. I guess the word fact. Fact or Fiction. This card goes almost into every single blue deck I play. It's in Kess. It's in so many things. Digging through 5 cards and picking the best 1 or 2 cards out of them is amazing. But the problem with Unesh was I didn't want to build a mono blue deck. So the only blue. So, sorry, I'm stumbling over myself. Another card that came out in the Ixalan block is Azor the Lawbringer, who is a legendary Sphinx, blue-white, flying 6/6. Whenever he enters the battlefield, every opponent can't cast an instant or sorcery spell, any instant or sorcery spells, during their next turn. And whenever he attacks, you may pay X, white, blue, blue, to gain X life and draw X cards, which is just putting on a stick the card Sphinx's Revelation, which is really cool because this is actually supposed to be him from the original Ravnica block. However, Azor doesn't really do it for me as a commander. And then I was sitting over here with this Dragon Lord Ojutai. And I was like, I want Ojutai to be the commander, but I could just make it a Sphinx tribal deck, because things like Unesh and Azor and a few other Sphinx are really cool. Okay, what else do I do? Maybe I make it a flying control deck with a card that is super busted like Magus of the Moat. Magus of the Moat says, creatures without flying can't attack. It's based on the original card called Moat. Except Moat is a... what is it? $600+ card. So yeah, I'm not buying a Moat anytime soon. There's also Teferi's Moat, which is kind of interesting. There's a Time Spiral version, Invasion version. Maybe I could throw that in this list. I'll just do it while I'm thinking about it. But anyway, that was my idea, was to kind of build this flying control Sphinx deck. And I thought that's pretty cool. But then it kind of got to the point where I was like, oh, there's actually not that many amazing Sphinxes. There's good Sphinx cards out there. Like Unesh is amazing. But lots of Sphinx are just big, expensive beaters in the air. And that's cool, but that's not really enough to get me going. So I was leaning more into control, and then I'm like, but I already have so many control decks. Like, my Kess deck is a control deck, for sure. Brea is a pretty control-y deck. Arjun kind of is control-y / just combo-y, and I realize there's also, like, Selvala, which is combo-y, and then Depala is just kind of aggro, and Zombies is aggro, but it's like low to the ground, go wide aggro, and then Lissia is kind of like a commander, like a big, just Voltron-y, and then Sram is Voltron-y, and I realized I didn't have any, like, tribal deck that was really just super solidly tribal. And the only tribal deck I had was Zombies, but Zombies tend to be low to the ground, and they have a lot of their own cards. There's been so many Zombies printed over the years that Zombies have some of the best tribal cards. Like, I'm pretty sure, in terms of raw power, Zombie Tribal is up there. It's one of the best and one of the most popular, especially considering it wasn't printed. There was no Zombie deck printed in the Commander 2017 product, which isn't a bad thing, but... Sorry, I'm actually making a note because talking about Ixalan reminded me of a change I might want to make to my zombie deck. Oh. So I realized I didn't really have a deck that fit the idea of the quote-unquote Timmy, or I guess if you're a girl, Tammy player, of just building a big, dumb, big creatures cool deck. And I started kind of leaning into that a little bit in my blue-white deck. I know the story's going on for a lot. I promise I'm getting to the end of the story. Because especially you're able to tell this is not an Ojutai deck. So I did that, and then I was like, oh, if I'm doing flying creatures in white and blue, what's one of the best white flying tribes? Angels. Angels are amazing. And then I thought back to the casual deck I spent way too much money on back in the day, where I had built a dumb, super expensive, super foiled out, and I sold most of the cards, Angel Tribal deck. And I thought, well, I'm a much better deck builder now, compared to back then. And I don't have an Angel Tribal deck, and I love Angels. They're certainly one of my favorite tribes. So then I thought, well, in blue-white, my only real option is Bruna, Light of Alabaster for Angel Tribal, and she's not really an Angel Tribal card. Mono White has tons and tons of angels, and at the same time, Dominaria spoilers are happening, which, as of this recording, this is Saturday the 14th that I'm recording this. Dominaria spoilers finished 2 days ago, but during the whole Dominaria spoiler season of the last 2 weeks, I saw cards like Lyra Dawnbringer and Shalai, Voice of Plenty. These two cards are insanely good. Shalai is super duper mega ultra busted. She's like a baby Sigarda Host of Herons, except probably better. And Lyra Dawnbringer is insane value for 5 mana. 5/5 flying, first strike, lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1, and lifelink. And Shalai has just a mana sink ability for later in the game. It's super duper 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 good. They're both amazing, amazing, amazing cards. So I decided I was going to do Angel Tribal for sure. Problem was, Shalai has a green ability. Well, if we're going into green, what's a good green, white, and probably blue, because I'd really like to still play Ojutai, color? And lo and behold, we have Janara, Asura of War. 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue, 3/3, legendary angel, flying, 1 and a white, put a 1/1 counter on her. Now, it's super funny because I had just started solidifying this idea earlier this week, and 2 weeks ago, and I went to my shop for Commander last week, which I'm going to be doing a few hours after this recording, and someone who I haven't seen in a while brought a new Janara Voltron deck where it was just dump counters on her and kill people. And he was so effective that the only reason I won that game was because I killed him with his own Janara when it was a 90/90 creature. But it made me realize most people probably take Janara that way. I want to do Angel Tribal. Now, Angels as a tribe has been weird in Magic. I'm almost to deck building, I promise. Because there are some incredibly cool 5-color Angels in Magic. Let me go to EDH Rec. There are, if we go to, let's just go to 5-color. So some 5-color staples for Commander. They're not staples. Who am I kidding? There's some amazing 5-color Angels, okay? Maelstrom Angel is an unofficial Commander because people want a 5-color Angel. Why do they want a 5-color Angel? Because there are a handful of insanely cool Angels that have red and black, which is why most people don't bother building a Janara Angel Tribal deck. My single favorite card in all of Magic is Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, and she has red, as well as Aurelia the War Leader. 2 of the absolutely strongest Angels can't be played in the deck I am currently designing because they both have red in the cost. Then you get to cards like Tariel, Reckoner of Souls, which is a super duper duper cool card that returns something from the graveyard straight to the battlefield. I always wanted to play her, but then you lose access to green, which has angels like Sigarda, Host of Herons, or something even as cool as Stoic Angel, which is really neat, or the new Shalai can't be played. Who else? Imperial Archangel. Like, there's no good answer to playing Angel Tribal and getting everything you want in it, unless you end up just building a 5-color deck that doesn't care about the Angels at all, like a Progenitus deck or something. And I also, at the same time, as fun as that might be, I don't want to spend that much money on this deck. I am at the point where I'm trying to cut back really hard. I'm really trying to clamp down on my deck building. So I really recognize that I'm trying to slow down. And I don't have the money to invest in a 5-color deck, especially because Maelstrom Archangel, while a perfect 5-color Angel Commander, is not legendary and has to be accepted by anyone you play with. I believe that anyone I talk to at the store would be fine with it, but I don't want to risk having to bring this deck somewhere else and not having anyone accept it. So, and plus, if I wanted to turn this into a 5-color deck someday, I probably could. This is where I want to start, though. This is my Janara 3-color Angel Tribal deck, and that's what we're going to be building today. That is what we're going to be doing, because I currently have 105 cards in this deck, and I need to cut it down. 2 of these are lands. I have 103 non-land cards in this deck. Technically, you're allowed to build a commander deck out of that. You shouldn't. You should build a 100-card commander deck. So, including Janara and those lands, we have 102 cards, and by my estimation, they should be cut down to approximately 64 cards. So, I have just under 40 cards to cut from this deck. This is a tentative list. You're seeing all the cards that I even considered. I threw them into my Excel document for Commander, and then I transfer them over to deck stats to make it easier for you guys to interact while I'm deck building. So, let's get started trying to cut this Janara deck down to about 64 non-land cards. And really, it should probably be about 63 because Angels are such an expensive tribe that you really, really, really need the mana in place to play Angels. So, we're going to go through this list. We have our main list of those, and we're going to create some new sections. We're going to create Angels. We're going to create non-Angels. We're going to add ramp / fixing. We're going to create, I guess we'll just do lands to get them out of the list. And we're going to, what other sections? I guess just enchantments, artifacts. That's probably fine for now. Spells. That's instants and sorceries. All right, so I'm going to shift things around as we go into these new sections so that we can, anything that ends up in one of those sections is going to be a card that I'm going to keep in the deck. At least for this first wave. I know there are a lot of cards in here that I absolutely love that I can probably cut. So what we're going to do, let me close Steam so that stops popping up. What we're going to do is, let me restart because I apologize again. Every time I build a new commander deck, I like to try my best to do things I have not done before. There are over 15 or 16,000 cards in Magic's history. Inevitably, some of those same cards go into almost commander deck. The Simic, the Signets go in every deck that is 2 or more colors, except for when you get to probably 5 color, you don't really need the Signets. But anything in like 2 to the 4 color range, because I have them in my Brea deck, you run the Signets. You run things like Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots if you have any deck that has any number of creatures that you want to have attacking or protected quickly. Chromatic Lantern. Every deck with 3 or more colors should probably be running a Chromatic Lantern. Yeah, there's like Commander Sphere. Every deck with 3 or more colors. The only 2 lands I have, Command Tower and Path of Ancestry. Is even in a non-tribal deck, Path of Ancestry is just a slightly worse Command Tower, and in some cases it's slightly better. Like, it's just these blue decks. You put Cyclonic Rift in because it's the best removal in blue. It sucks, but it is the best removal in blue. Usually in green, you run Cultivate, you run Kodama's Reach. If there's more than 3 or more colors, you run Farseek. You run Harmonize for green card draw. There's a lot of things that just end up feeling samey. So my goal with every one of my decks is to cut down on that sameness. I try to run as few of the same important cards as possible. So I like to use all of these opportunities to run cards that not only are really cool, but are cards that I haven't had the opportunity to run anywhere else, and that I probably wouldn't have the opportunity to run anywhere else. So I might cut a little bit of direct tribal synergy in exchange for having cards like Knight of the Reliquary that is just a super duper cool card, or Scavenging Ooze, or Stoic Angel isn't even that good, but it's just a cool card I'm never going to get to run again. Zatalpa, Primal Dawn, Wrath Cappuccine, Ship's Mage. These are all cards that might not be the best at what they do, but they are cool cards that I want to run in the deck because I have the opportunity, and they will make the deck different. So, anyway, with that, let's get started on... First step we're going to do is we're going to pull things out of this massive list and put things in those bottom sections that, above all else, I knew going in, were things that I desperately wanted to be in this deck, that are not in another deck, that I think fit really well with the deck, and are my defining cards for the theme of the deck. So, Chroma, I'm not gonna name every card. If you want to pause and read, this should be clear enough at 1080p on YouTube to see what my cards all are that we're starting with. I would recommend just pausing and looking through, because this is my tentative all my cards list, and I'm gonna cover every section and everything else in this hour and a half video. that I'm gonna. And by the end of this, we should have the mana base. The professor from Tolarian Community College, a YouTube channel, he did a video about mana bases for commander decks. I would highly recommend those. There are, this is not his video related, more my own personal opinion. It seems like there's about 3 tiers of money that people invest in mana bases. There's the, I run guild gates, I run just the basic tapped lands, and I don't have the money for anything more than this. And that's fine. That works. Then there's the, I have some fetches and shocks. Then you get into like, oh, I have some fetches and shocks, maybe some damage cards. And then you get to the top tier, which is running the original dual lands and super expensive cards like that. I usually operate in the upper end of the mid tier. For this deck especially, I already have a bunch of fetch lands and shock lands. You can look up what I mean if you don't understand. I apologize. They're some of the best lands, and I have a bunch of foils of them on hand. Part of the reason also I'm doing this is because I took apart a bunch of casual decks, like an Ojutai casual deck that was from years ago. And a lot of the cards from those are in foil from when I spent the money, so I'm like, why buy them again? I'll just build the deck out of them. So yeah, I still have those. So mana base is not going to really get covered in this video. This is just going to be more about figuring out the deck itself. So anyway, Achroma Angel of Wrath, 8 mana, 6/6, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black and from red. She is one of the most iconic angels out there, and I would really love to have her in the deck. Let's see. Always Watching. This card is still a holdover from when it was an Ojutai deck, because with vigilance, Ojutai always has hexproof, even when he's attacking for his ability. So it gets around his weakness, and with big angels, a lot of them don't have vigilance, but as I said with my Depala deck, one of the problems is when you get aggro, you leave yourself open to other aggro decks, and vigilance really, really, really gets around that. So Always Watching is one of those fun cards that I still want to have in the deck. Let's see. These are all good cards that I'm going to come back to, but they're not things that I'm like so in love with that I need in the deck. Now, this is an interesting inflection point. Arcane Adaptation is basically an enchantment that says all of your creatures that aren't angels are going to be angels. By the end of this list, I'll probably have about 8 creatures that aren't angels, as well as some cards that, you know, work, like Lyra works with angels being in the deck and things like that. I don't know if Arcane Adaptation is going to end up making the cut. It depends on how many of those non-angel creatures that I still want to have attacking matter are worth still running. So we're going to have to see at the end if that makes the cut, or if I just end up making Angel Tribal with a few non-angel cards. Aura of Silence. I think I still run one of these in... What do I run it in? I maybe run it in Depala if I have it at all. It's probably what it is. It's Depala. This card is insanely good, and especially with Depala potentially coming out of rotation, what it does is you can sacrifice it to destroy any enemy artifact or enchantment, which usually goes for about 2 mana. But for that 3rd mana, you get an enchantment that says your artifacts and enchantments your opponent cast also cost 2 more, so they have to work harder to cast them, and you can just blow them up, which is super duper 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 good. Avacyn's Pilgrim is on theme and a nice little ramp guy, so I kind of just want him in the deck just for funsies. Let's keep going. Oh, Avacyn Angel of Hope must be in the deck. She's the coolest angel ever printed. She makes all of your permanents indestructible, and she's a legendary 8/8 angel for 8. She's the bae of the deck. She's up there. Let's keep looking. Signet, like I said, Signets always go in the decks, unfortunately. Actually, that can go under the ramp and fixing cards. Aven Mind Sensor. This is not an angel, but it is part of the tricky... I like to always have a few cards that play to a different angle. I know in Commander you're supposed to focus so much on your theme, but I love cards that hit people from angles they don't expect. I love throwing like a 1-card or 2-card thing that really just hits someone out of the blue. Even Mind Sensor is one of those cool cards that doesn't actually... isn't actually an angel, but it's flying, so it gets around Magus of the Moat. And it's just such a tricky thing that people don't expect. It's so fun to mess with people like that. I know I sound horrible. Bant Charm is a card that I'm never going to get to run in any other deck. I'll tentatively add it for now. Destroy an artifact, put a creature on the bottom of its owner's library, or target an instant. None of those are amazing for the mana cost, but you always find that the flexibility of the charm cards is usually pretty good. Let's see. Let's keep going. Beast Within is some of the absolute best removal out there. So we're probably going to run Beast Within because we need some removal. Birds of Paradise. I don't get to run this in any of my other decks because my only other green deck is a mono green and doesn't really need the birds. But Birds of Paradise, I would love to just get a nice foil and have it run in the deck. Bruna, Light of Alabaster. I'm going to not add her for now because her thing is auras and she has her own distinct commander deck. But at the same time, she's such a cool angel. And I kind of want her because she can steal opponents' auras and put them on herself, which is really neat. So she'll probably be a maybe. But Bruna the Fading Light is definitely going in the deck because she is a meld combo with the Gisela version that can run in the deck. And they turn into a mega creature that I would love to assemble in Commander because I've never assembled it in Commander. I don't have those cards in... Yeah, I don't have those cards in any other deck right now. I have the Gisela in one other deck, but anyway. Chromatic Lantern, like I said, I'll always spring for it. It's just too good of a card. Actually, let's throw the Pilgrim and Birds in the ramp and fixing stuff, because they really are ramp creatures. And I'll just remember that they're two non-angel creatures. Anyway, you can see I'm not really planning this out, but let's just start flying through. Command Tower is a land that I have to run. Commander Sphere, again, for 3 color, sacking it to then draw a card. Card draw is rare in these... Blue, not really, and green, not really too much, but white always has trouble drawing in. It's just such a good thing, especially if someone's gonna destroy all the artifacts. You just cash it out for a card before they get to destroy yours, so... like I said, also, Cultivate and Kodama's Reach, those are those cards that just go in every single green deck. They're just too good. They're too good. Cyclonic Rift also, blue deck, gotta put it. Day of Judgment, this is going in because it is certainly not the best white board wipe. There are many board wipes that are better, but I also have many decks that have white in them, and I have a promo full art foil of this that looks gorgeous. Let me see if I can pull it up. What? Did I misspell judgment? Wow. I did. Nope. That's cool too. That's really pretty. Wow. How much is that? $4? Where's the one I have? That's the one I have. That's super cool. So even though it's not the best, I'm going to run it because it's gorgeous. And Regenerate from Wrath of God doesn't come into effect too much, but it does sometimes come up, but I'm willing to take that hit. All right, let's keep going. Ojutai. He was going to be in the deck from the very beginning. It was originally his deck, so the best I can do for him is to put him in. Imperial Archangel. Just a super cool, goofy card that I would love to have in the deck because it's 3 color. Just sell. Let's see. I'm missing something. Eladamri's Call is a tutor that got reprinted recently, and it's one of those cards that I just can't run in a green deck. So I'd love to tutor up some big angels, things like that. Let's keep going. Enlightened Tutor. I realize there are tons of artifacts and enchantments that are really good in this deck. And while I don't love running these old one mana tutor instance, there's this whole cycle of tutors. Enlightened for white, Worldly for green, blue is mystical, black is vampiric, and red doesn't have a tutor, I don't think. I don't think so. Regardless, every one of them except the green one got reprinted recently in, I think it was Iconic Masters. And they're pretty cheap, and I don't love them, but instant speed tutoring for 1 mana is great, even if it's to the top of your library. I'm willing to sacrifice my draw for most of these artifacts and enchantments if I really need them, but I'm not willing to do it for creatures, which is why when you see that I have Worldly Tutor at the bottom here, it's also very expensive monetarily, so, and it's just not fun in my mind, so I'm not going to run it. I'd rather have Eladamri's Call. I also don't like tutoring very much. I really, really don't. Not a big fan of tutors, which is funny because this deck probably has the most cards that do that. Anyway, Farseek. So this is very good when you have things like Shocklands, because they count as 2 types of basics. So if I search for a Plains, I can still get a Plains Forest if I need more green mana, or a Island Plains, or an Island Forest. So all of those options are available to me with Farseek, and it's really, really good. Plus, I don't mind having cards that are a little slower. I don't want to be the guy who's super mega competitive at my store. Gisela the Broken Blade is the other side of the Bruna the Fading Light. Harmonize is a mono green draw spell that I don't think I actually even run in Selvala. It's just also amazing card draw. And again, it's not blue, so it's not one of those cards that I usually run, because I often run all the good blue draw spells, as you'll see a little later. And I'll only use those to pad out this deck, because I'd rather find other fun cards. Hedron Archive, I only run it into Paula. It's a super duper good ramp, and I need more ramp in this deck. This deck needs like 10 ramp cards. Heirloom Blade, fun tribal card. 3 mana, +3/+1. Whenever a creature dies, you may reveal cards from the top until you reveal a creature that shares a type. So if I have Angels, I'm actually not going to add it, because that's, relatively speaking, not that good. I'm going to hold off for now, actually. Even though it's one of the cards I really wanted in the deck, I'm going to hold off, just because of how stacked this deck is, how packed it is. Herald's Horn, though, makes all your Angels cost 1 less, and at the beginning of your turn, you look at your top card, and if it's an Angel, you put it in your hand and then still draw for the turn. As well as, if I do end up running, what's it called? Arcane Adaptation to make all my creatures Angels, my extra 5 to 10 creatures that aren't Angels still trigger that and cost 1 less. Herald of War, Icefall Regent is a super good dragon. I tried to look for things that I already have on hand that are flying creatures to get over the moat thing, and it locks down a creature forever, which is super duper duper good. And it's just a fun little flying guy, so it's a strong maybe, but I'm trying to go with the just definitive cards for now, so I gotta remember that. Janara is the commander, so she obviously has to be in the deck. Let's see. Kindred Discovery. This is good card draw. Choose a creature type. Whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, you draw a card. So if I play or attack with any Angel, which I should be attacking with my Angels if they're on the field, I will get to draw a bunch of cards, which is really good. Knight of the Reliquary. This card is really good in Modern, but I have a promo one from a dual deck a while ago, and it's just a super fun card that I'm never going to get to run anywhere else, so I really want to have it in the deck. Again, like I said, I'm choosing fun over potentially pure exact power. Kadama's Reach, the brother to Cultivate. They both get a basic in your hand and basic on the field. And if you have a green mana, I could get 2 white or a white and a blue and have all my colors. So obviously really good. Krosan Grip, I have it in Selvala, but it's too good. Being able to destroy an artifact or enchantment with, for all intents and purposes, there's no way to respond to it because it has an ability called Split Second. There are a minor handful of ways you can respond to this, but they are so niche, they're not even really worth talking about. Lightning Greaves, again, I have big Angels I want to protect and not have them die, and if they have haste, all the better, but if they have Shroud, that's what I really care about, so I'm going to run the Greaves as always. Linvala, Keeper of Silence. This is one of those trolley cards because in Modern, this card is really good, but also in Commander. People really don't think about how many of their cards use activated abilities or triggered abilities and stuff. So she's super trolly, and she can shut those down real quick. Lyra Dawnbringer, obviously, she's one of the angels from Dominaria I want to play. Let's see. Magus of the Moat is one of the cards that I built the deck idea around almost. Mind Stone, again, just good ramp that you can turn into a card draw later, and I could honestly steal the pretty version from Depala that she's running, the promo version I have. What else? Let's keep going. Mirari's Wake. I have a couple foils of this, and this card is bustedly good. Double your mana and give your creatures +1/+1. In a deck that's so expensive, with such expensive cards, this card's busted, and yeah, I'm going to run it since I don't have another... Again, the other thing is I have a bunch of, like, so many cards that aren't just mono green that I can't run because this is going to be my second deck with green in it for Commander, which is just weird to think about still. Omniscience. This is the mean pick. This is the Troll Factor with another card that I have coming up. This card is, you may cast your spells from your hand for free, and I run it in my Arjun deck, but I want to buy the cool Amonkhet promo for this, and it's mean. This is going to be my get-out-of-jail-free card for when I'm losing a game if I need to tutor up something really good. I'm going to put it in here for now, even though it's so mean and that promo is expensive, but it's very fun and very trolly. Path of Ancestry is the other land I need to run, because especially with Angel Tribal, it's even better. Path to Exile. This is such good removal. The only thing is I do run a bunch of decks have Path to Exile and its brother Swords to Plowshares in them. They're some of the best removal. I'm gonna leave them out for now because even though they're amazing, I'm trying, as I said, to run different removal and change things up from the way I normally do them. Planar Bridge, though. Oh, Planar Bridge. There's a card that came out a long time ago called... It was some kind of portal, and it was 6 mana, like Planar Bridge. 6 mana, tap, search your library for any card, put it into your hand. This is... pay 8 mana, search your library for any permanent, and put it onto the battlefield. So for the same casting cost as Avacyn, Angel of Hope, I can search for Avacyn in my deck and put her onto the battlefield at instant speed. It also helps. This is one of those cases where there is an invention, as you can see right here. The Kaladesh invention, I have it sitting in my binder. I want a deck for it. I'm going to put it in the deck. Because my other mindset is this deck has a bunch of expensive cards. If I can pay for those expensive cards, why not pay for the card that can keep tutoring them out and shooting out an angel every turn? Same goes for Platinum Angel. As you see, I have this invention. It is one of the most gorgeous cards I own. It says I can't lose the game and they can't win the game, and it gets you targeted every single time. But if you could do that at instant speed with the bridge, now we're talking. Ponder Preordain, like I said, blue card draw that I'd like to avoid because it's just not too good, but I have it in too many decks. I don't want to just run it again. Quicksilver Amulet is much cheaper than Planar Bridge, but it only plays things from your hands. But for 4 mana, getting angels out of your hand is really, really good, especially considering most angels cost 5 or more. So you invest 4 mana into casting this on like turn 4, and then if it survives a go-round, turn 5, you cast like an 8, you put an 8 cost mana. So this deck, most of my decks function on slowly building a machine of value almost, or just blitzkrieging everyone with like my Selvala deck. This deck is going to be grindy value, and it's going to get me targeted, but I'm trying to pick cards that are so good that I can survive being targeted. Oh boy. Okay. Wrath Capuchin. I'm going to put him in. I went back and forth because there are 2 cards that for this deck are technically better. There's Leyline of Anticipation, which gives all of your cards flash instead of just your historic spells, which are legendaries, artifacts, and sagas. There's no sagas in this deck. But most of these angels, like you can see, only 2 of these angels that are in the deck so far are not legendary, and I'm going to tell you a lot of more that are going to be added are also legendary. So most of your legendary angels have flash, including some other creatures and enchantments and stuff. Then all my artifacts are going to have flash. But Leyline of Anticipation can be played for free on turn 0 and gives everything flash, which is really good. And then there's Vidalcan Ori, which is an artifact that gives everything flash. Creatures are the weakest type out of those, but again, I already run Leyline of Anticipation in my Arjun deck. I don't really like Vidalcan Ori because it's a do-nothing, and I like being able to flash him in at the end of someone's turn and then flash in something else, and he also has flying, which fits the theme of the deck. So I'm going to run him. I'm going to put Raph in, give him a shot. There's Rest in Peace and Relic and Progenitus Graveyard Hate. I will return to that topic, but for now, I'm not going to add them to the deck. Return to Dust is, again, it's one of those cards that's just so good, you have to run it, because I find that there are so many people who underestimate how good Indestructible is, and there's lots of creatures with Indestructible these days, like the God cards from Theros. You need a way to exile things sometimes, and Return to Dust, exiling 2 artifacts or enchantments, is just too good to not run at any given point. What was the total? 105 is how many we were looking at? We're down to 61 left, so let's open up our calculator, because I don't feel like doing math on a Saturday morning. We have 44 cards in the deck already. That tells you how tough it's going to be. Let's see, does that math line up? 9, 14, 24. Well, I'm not going to go count those 2. I'm going to count Janara, because, well, it's either you work off 100 and count the commander, or 99 and don't count the commander. Not 24, 29, 33, 42. So 42 non-land cards is what we're looking at right now. And we're like, look at all these cards that I still want in the deck, but are not like definitely going in. And there's still more. There's still more. Route. This is a really cool, again, one of those cool board wipes that I just don't get to run anywhere else. Route is 5 mana to destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated, so it's a Wrath of God that costs 1 more, but you can also pay 2 more to give it flash, and there are so few instant speed Wraths in the game. It's such a cool thing that people don't expect. The Signet, like I said, gotta run the Signets. Actually, that can go in ramp. See, look, but I might cut some ramp, though, because I had so much ramp in here. What else? Shalai, of course. Oh, boy. Show and Tell. This card is played in Legacy because it is so good at playing a Gristlebrander and Emrakul on turn 3 or turn 2, potentially. And usually you just lose to that. Show and Tell in Commander is massive roll of dice. Every player may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land from their hand onto the battlefield for free. But I'm going to put it in the deck because the idea of playing an Avacyn on turn 3 is just too good, and it's too good. You have to do it. You have to do it if you can. Sigarda, Host of Herons, one of the greatest angels ever, and I love her, and she's going in. Simic Signet. Skyshroud Claim, one of the best, again, a mono green tutor, but it's so good, and I have a copy, and I don't need to run it in Selvala, so it's actually a unique case because you search for 2 forest cards and put them onto the battlefield. Now, in Selvala, where all your forests are basic, it's not super mega better than something like Krosan Grip or Kodama's Reach or Cultivate. But in a deck where you run non-basic forests, it's very good because you can search up lands that give you 2 colors. Steel of the Godhead is Trolly. I have a foil copy, and if I put Bruno, Light of Alabaster, back in, she's the one who's going to grab this from the hand for free and become unblockable lifelink. Sword of Swiftfoot. Stoic Angel. It's a cool angel. It's not very good, but it's fun, and it's going in. Swiftfoot Boots, gotta run it. Ugh, this sucks. It sucks how close I am to being done, isn't it? Tameo Field Researcher, the Planeswalker who will only ever be able to fit in this deck. I have a copy still from a deck I took apart, and I'm gonna run it, damn it. All right, we're almost done. Teferi's Moat, I'm not gonna play it. It's not as good as Magus of the Moat, and I'd rather save the spot for other things since we're so close. Tempt with Discovery, it's such a trolly land card. You get to tutor up a land, and then every opponent can also tutor up a land, but for every opponent who takes you up on that offer, you get to get another land. It's mega ramp. People are, if they're smart, they don't take you up on the offer, but even just tutoring up one land of whatever you want is not bad for 4 mana in this deck. The Immortal Sun. I talked about it in the Lycia video in the second intro part, but I might cut this from Lycia because it doesn't really fit the theme, and I have a couple Planeswalkers more in that deck who like the ability, and reducing costs is even better in the Angel deck than the Vampire-ish Voltron-y deck. So I'm going to shift it over to here. I'm probably going to rip the foil copy I have in Lycia out of there and have space for a new card from the Dominaria update, which will be coming sometime in the next week. I'm going to record that video as well. We're almost there, but we're almost out of space, unfortunately. True Conviction's so good, but it's in Depala, and it's a win more card. It really is. Creatures you control have Double Strike and Lifelink is just, you better kill me because I'm going to win. Unexpectedly Absent is hilarious removal. And it's going to go in here because it's too funny for me not to run. Put target non-land permanent into its owner's library just beneath the top X card. So you can tuck something away like 5 cards deep for 7 mana, or just put it on top of their library for 2 mana. Might get cut just due to lower power, but it's just so fun and no one expects it. Again, it's always about running different cards. Urza's Incubator. Making all my angels 2 cheaper is real good. Let's see, we're almost there. Wargate is another one of those cards I'm never going to get to run anywhere else. It's X, 1 of each color. Search your library for any permanent with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you have a ton of mana, just dump it into that and tutor up anything you need. Wheel of Sun and Moon. This is one of the coolest save your own graveyard cards. I always try to find new ways to exile people's graveyards because there's a lot of graveyard stuff in Commander. And also protect my own graveyard. I always get worried, even though not a lot of people run mill, I always get terrified of my library being run out in long games. So I love running cards, and this is the only time I'm ever going to get to run this card. Wheel of Sun and Moon basically says every time any card would be put into enchant player, but you would 99 out of 100 times I'm going to enchant myself with this. I can think of Marin being the only commander who I would enchant it with, but it's cool to have that tech also. But instead of a card going into your graveyard, you reveal that card and put it on the bottom of your library, which is mega good because I can't get milled out. You mill me, it just goes to the bottom, and then I can tutor it up again with some of my tutor stuff, which is so good. And then Zatalpa, Primal Dawn, just an amazingly good flying creature. Gotta run it. So, let's see what the total is now. Whoa. Must have put in a 0 somewhere. I'm not even looking at the... Oh boy, I'm not going to like this, am I? There's too many cool cards left. 60! Oh god. I have only 4 slots left. That's really sad, man. There's so many cool cards in here. Look at all these angels. Man, this sucks. Oh, and this doesn't even include the other card I'm going to run. Oh my god. I don't know how to spell privileged position. Other permanents you control of hexproof. It's so good, and I'm never going to get to run it anywhere else. Fuck! 61? I have 3 cards left? Alright. Maybe I have to start cutting stuff. Tamio's too cool. Wargate's really good. Target. Show and tell, route, return to dust, Croson grip, harmonize, enlighten tutor, Eladamri's call, Day of Judgment, Cyclonic Rift, Beast Within, Bant Charm. I don't even have quite as much removal as I'd like. Immortal Sun, Swiftfoot, Quicksilver, Planar Bridge, Lightning Greaves, Herald Horn. Those are all good. Wheel of Sun, yep. Steel the God. I'm probably basically full because I wanted to have more. Excuse me. I wanted to have Graveyard Hate. Probably in the form of like 2 cards and 1 more card to protect my graveyard. So that's like done. So I got to figure out what I can cut from this list. Steel of the Godhead is going to get cut, and Bruna's not going to make the cut. Just because, thinking about it, Steel of the Godhead's really good, but it's only it's unblockable, only comes when you have a blue creature. And most of these creatures, as you can see, 1, 2, the commander technically is a big factor there. 3, 4, 5, and 5 creatures can be unblockable. And I'm not going to run Bruna. Yeah, it's not worth. It's a fun synergy, but there's so many other. This is the stage where you have to condense. Like, you have so many cool ideas, and you have to force yourself to condense things down and make things better. It sucks, but you really have to. All right. Let's keep going. Wheel, definitely. Privilege, definitely. Omniscience is going to be in the deck. I'm not going to cut it. Yep. I think Aura of Silence should stay. Okay, so now the question becomes, what do I cut from ramp? Because 15 is, with such an expensive deck, I really need a lot of ramp, but I think I can afford to cut maybe 2 things. This is where it gets really tough. How much? Okay. Land tutoring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then artifact ramp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then I have 2 creatures. I'm going to keep the creatures. I'm going to keep the signets. I'm going to keep the lantern. Sorry, I know I'm not talking, but I'm really trying to... This is really tough. It's always bad to commit to... I guess I cut... God, I don't want to. I think maybe I have enough ways to tutor or draw cards that I don't need the Archive and the Mind Stone. They're really good, but also in a 3-color deck, colorless mana can be the death of you. Even though I have such expensive cards that use the colorless mana... If you think about it, Hedron Archive, you have to pay to get the cards out. Same with Mind Stone. Kadama's Reach, Farseek, like having lands is almost always better than having artifacts. I don't really have an artifact synergy, and mass land destruction, while brutal in Commander, most people know how awful it is and don't run it, so lands are usually safer than artifacts, and I don't really have a way to take advantage of the artifacts, so I'm going to tentatively cut both of those. And now I'm down to 13. That feels a lot more comfortable. These are all really, really, really good ramp cards, so yeah. Maybe I cut Zetalpa. Zetalpa's super cool, but a 4... This is when you have to start thinking also. When you have tutors in the deck, are you ever in your life going to tutor for Zetalpa? It costs as much as Avacyn. And that's just not double strike, like a 4/4, a 4/8 indestructible flying double strike vigilance trample. It's just like it's an amazing amount of words on a card, but its power is actually kind of, it hits for 8, but this is also the point where I have to decide if Arcane Adaptation goes in. That's what I'm at the point of. Because if Arcane Adaptation goes in, this can go in the deck, and if it doesn't go in, then it can't go in the deck. It's that simple. I'm pretty sure Arcane Adaptation has to not go in the deck. I just don't have the room for it. I'm pretty sure I don't have the room. And I'd rather add more fun angels than keep another big dumb creature that doesn't even be an angel without Arcane, because I'm not even tutoring up Arcane all the time. So yeah, that's gone. Wrath. Wrath is honestly the other card I might cut from the non-angels. Because giving angels flash is cool. It's not even every angel. It gives my commander flash, though, which is neat. And him being flying fits the theme, and he's a cool new Dominaria card, and I like representing the new set. So I'm going to leave it in for now. Knight of the Reliquary. Knight of the Reliquary is also really good when... Oh, yeah, that actually fights my Wheel of Sun and Moon. I really want to run it because I have such a cool promo, but honestly, Knight of the Reliquary hurts it. Yeah, we're definitely... Okay, so I'm sticking with Nose of Talpa. We're down to 6 non-angel cards. Ojutai's got to be in there, and Aven Mind Sensor's too trolly. It's not getting cut. Aven Mind Sensor might get cut. Okay, let's be realistic. I don't think any single one of these angels are ones that I'm interested in cutting. They're all so cool and pretty. All right, so now before I do anything else, I have to think of my graveyard hate and graveyard recursion. I put Ulamog in the deck because he shuffles my graveyard into my library. And if my Wheel of Sun and Moon is gone, then I have no way to protect my library from graveyard stuff. And the idea behind him is that if he dies or goes away, but he never dies. That's the thing. He has to get discarded or milled. Maybe the wheel is enough. I'm not putting him in for now. Well of Ideas is a hilarious thing. It's like a super Howling Mine where everyone draws an additional card, but I draw 2 additional cards, and I draw 2 when I cast it. But it's not good enough. Not running that, not running that, not running that. So, I almost forgot. Shit, I need to put this in. Sword of Body and Mind. It is the only Sword of card. So, the Sword of Cycle is an enemy color. It's called Cycle, where if you look at the color wheel, you understand. It's Sword of something and something. It gives protection from whatever 2 colors that represents, and it gives an ability whenever you damage a player. In this case, it's you create a wolf and mill 10 cards. That's not very good. It's actually by far the worst Sword of, but in every deck where I can run a Sword of something, I have the invention already, and I'm running it in a deck that has those colors. Currently, Lycia has the Sword of War and Peace, which is red and white, and the Sword of Light and Shadow, which is black and white. So those fit her colors. The other deck that has it is, well, this deck's cheating, but it's my Voltron deck, so I don't care. SRAM, mono white, currently has the Sword of Body, or Sword of Fire and Ice, which is the red-blue one, which is the second best, and Sword of Feast and Famine, which is black and green, which is the best. None of those color combos fit in this deck except Sword of Body and Mind. So Sword and Body of Mind is definitely going in here because I just want to have the invention cycle of those Sword ofs being used. I'm trying to collect all the inventions, but I also want to use them all. I don't want them to just sit around and be pretty until I take a picture of all of them and rip them out of the deck, and that's it. What else? What else? Graveyard Hate. Relic of Progenitus is an option, or Rest in Peace is an option. the funny thing about Rest in Peace, it says when it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from all graveyards. If a card or token will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. The funny thing is that with Wheel of Sun and Moon on the field, they actually have an interaction where because I control both of them, I get to pick which one triggers first. If I pick Rest in Peace to trigger first, Wheel of Sun and the Moon will then trigger second, or on the stack second, but it will go off first, putting my card on the bottom of my library while everyone else's cards gets exiled. So, in addition, I don't have a deck that runs Rest in Peace. So I'm going to put Rest in Peace as my graveyard hate in the deck. So many cool angels still. Karmic Guide is so cool, but it's not... It doesn't return stuff. It returns creatures, but creatures are so good. Herald of War is deceptive. It looks really good, and it's not. I've tried it before. Elish Norn. I don't want to put her in, but she's so good, and she's not in any other deck, and I have a foil of her. I don't have a... I do? I think I do. I don't remember. She's so good, though. She's so good. Okay, what are we looking at? We have one bit of graveyard hate and one bit of graveyard protection, which is a bad number, but it's the best I can do right now. So let's try again. 1, 13, 7. I just don't feel like thinking right now. I apologize. I promise I'm not this dumb. 4, 12. 58. So I now have 6 slots available. Okay. Now we're starting to feel better about life, you know? We're starting to feel better. Angel of Finality is a really good angel exiling on a stick for a graveyard. It lets me tutor up a creature that can exile a graveyard instead of just getting Rest in Peace. So that's really good because there's a lot of graveyard stuff in the world. See, there's so many cool angels up here. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Baneslayer Angel is the iconic one, but it's not actually super duper that good. This is card draw, Biden of Thassa. I also have a foil of it, and it's super pretty. Bruna's not getting added. Sorry, Bruna. This is when it gets tough. These last few. All right, so now, here's where I'm going to do some cheat. Well, not cheat. Here's where I'm going to use deck stats to help me. It's going to help force me into a decision that I would resist making. Shit. Okay, so go into deck stats in a new window. Log back in for some reason. All right, let's just... Is there a log out? Or... Okay, now refresh session. Please? God, I'd be so sad if I lost all this progress on camera. All right. Our mana curve is really high in the 3... Well, okay. Here's the other thing we should start doing. So it still says 105. That's part of the problem. Wait, what? Did it not save my... Oh my god, it didn't save my changes. Oh boy, hold on. Okay, well... Wow, that sucks. It didn't save anything. All right. Unfortunate. So we're going to spend 30 seconds. Hopefully I'll be quick. I'm just going to make a bulk thing of all the things. Because I just built the thing. I remember what I'm keeping, at least for now. So let's just quickly... Shift everything that I know I'm keeping into this bulk area. I can't believe it said, oh, it successfully saved your session, except we didn't. All right, route, return, rip, RAF, quick, privileged, platinum, bridge, path, Mirari's, Omniscience, Magus, Lyra, Linvala, Lightning Greaves, Croson Grip, Padamas, Kindred, Janara, obviously, Harmonize, just sell, did I grab? Yeah, I did. Farseek, Enlightened Tutor. Did I skip something? Herald's Horn, that's what I skipped. Imperial, Eladamri's, Ojutai, Day of Judgment, Cyclonic, Cult, Sivat. At least now I don't have to work quite as hard to total up the math anymore. Birds. Beast. Bant. Saurius. Avacyn. Avon. Pilgrim. Aura. Oh man, is it? I'm not gonna be able to drag without scrolling down for right now. Finality. Always. Achroma. 61. That doesn't match 58. Uh-oh. Oh, well. Oh, I know why. Because I added one card and then the 2 lands are still in there. So this number should actually be 59. Perfect. All right, so we did it again. That didn't take very long, did it? All right, so anyway, I'm going to analyze the deck. No. Okay. Yeah, it's not a public deck. Good. Let's save the deck. Yes, it's a work in progress still. Bam. Thank you. Now it's saved. Thank God. All right. So let's start the other end of the process. We're getting there, though. You can see we're really getting there. We're going to cut cards that we are definitely not going to run. Worldly Tutor, not going to run it. Zatalpa, nope. Ugin is cool, and I have the amazing rare promo from him where he's like a blue. Here, let me show you. It's so pretty. Nope. Well, that's what the... Look at it. It's so gorgeous. And it's $120 right now. I paid about that much. It's so pretty. It's gorgeous. I wish I could run it, but he just doesn't fit. True Conviction. I have enough expensive stuff. Traverse the Outlands is a cool ramp card. X basic land cards where X has the greatest power amongst creatures you control. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to cut a Kadama's Reach. It's a blasphemy, but we're going for fun. So fuck it. I don't care. Teferi's Moat, you're just not going to make the cut. 5 mana for moating 1 color is not good enough right now. Sylvan Library is amazing card draw, but I have enough neat card draw things. Seal of Godhead, we cut. Rev, no. Scavenging Ooze, we have enough Graveyard Hate. Relic, same thing. Ponder, Preordain, we have enough interesting card draw. Mindstone, we cut. Run into the Reliquary, we cut. Icefall Regent, I don't think makes the cut anymore. Herald of War is not as good as it looks. Archive, we cut. Entreat the Angels, while a super beautiful foil and a super cool card, I just don't have any way to manipulate the miracle cost, and it's just not worth it. Dig, I have a foil I wanted to put in, but I already run Dig and Kess and Arjun, so it's fine. Bruna, I'm going to leave her in. Birthing Pod, again, I have a foil, which is worth something, and I just wanted to place to make it work, but the Angels all cost the same mana cost. At the same time, I'll leave it in for now. Fucking asceticism. I have enough hexproofy stuff at this time that I don't actually feel like I need it. Arcane, we're not going with that plan anymore. Chroma's Memorial is so good. Oh, man. Oh, fine. Alhamrit's Archive. I'm either drawing a decent amount of cards or I have nothing to draw extra cards, so I'm not running Alhamrit's Archive. It's just not worth in this deck. Angel of Invention. I love this card, but there's such better angels. Yeah, there's better lords and better angels. We're just at too few cards. I really have to just start making cuts. Angelic Arbiter is so mean and so expensive. No. Angelic Field Marshal is actually a good cheap angel. Skirmisher is really cool, but I have enough other things that are more interesting, so I'm going to cut it. Oh my god. So we're down to 59 cards. We have 5 slots and 19 cards to put in the 19. Oh god. This is when the struggle happens, when you're right at the end here. And you come down to the last stuff. We're going to throw Ulamog in. I don't run him anywhere, and it's fine. Okay, so we have 4 slots. Man, I wish I still had my... We're going to run Linvala. This is so tough. Karmic Guide is really cool. We're not running Iridescent. It's too expensive of an angel. Heirloom Blade. How many angels do it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, you know what? Fine. I'll run Heirloom Blade. 3 slots. 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 I wish there was a way to tell the card, the deck analyzer, like, ignore this batch of cards and just tell me information about the rest of the cards. Like, see, my average CMC is 4, which is high. But when I cut some of these high-cost angels that aren't going to make the cut, I also have a lot of white. So most of my... So I'm going to have mostly duels that are blue-white or blue... I'll have some blue-green stuff, but I'm probably mostly going to be running... Every card, every land that is white something, I'm going to run. How do I figure this out from this point? All right. I'm going to have to start counting stuff, so I apologize if we're now hitting the brakes a little bit, but... Okay, Chroma's Memorial is just too expensive. It's amazingly cool and on theme, but I run it in my Selvala deck, and I can afford to cut it for that reason. Okay. Now it's still tough. I can't really afford to keep sending the curve higher, so I'm pretty sure I can only pick like one thing that costs 5 or more mana right now. Angel of Serenity is a really cool card, and it's really pretty. Really pretty. Alright, I'm not putting Well of Ideas. It costs too much. I'm not putting Pristine Angel. It's such a cool protection from everything, and I can untap it and play around, but it's just a 4/4 flying with protection. Oh, but it's so neat. It's neat. That's the thing. It's neat and different. That's the struggle here. Elish Norn's busted, but I have enough really good angels. Elish Norn should probably be in the deck, but I have so many expensive cards. I really... Like, you need to remember my comment about what do you tutor for? You tutor for Elish Norn when you're facing a token deck, But hopefully they can attack because I could just search up Magus the Moat. And I also don't want to be that guy. Like, the idea of the deck is to use things like Planar Bridge to get angels. I'm not going to cut her yet. I can't even in good conscience do it still, though. Bruna, Light of Alabaster. It kind of feels bad to not have her. Let me see something with Birthing Pod. Trying to ignore the... There's not many creatures left in here other than angels that are 4 or 5. Yeah. Like, the thing is, I need to have creatures at every point of the curve for Birthing Pod to work, and I don't have a lot of low-level creatures, at which point I'm sacrificing angels to Birthing Pod to get bigger angels. But you know what? Birthing Pod's more tutoring. Good point, me. I'd rather draw cards than tutor. That's usually how it goes. This deck is an exception because I'm a bad person. All right. 13, and I need to cut that down by 10. All right, Elish Norn, I'm dancing around the issue. If I'm thinking at this point, I have to. Maybe it's Serenity Jubilation Field Marshal. I don't think Tithes is going to make the... Tithes is kind of going back to that old... Yeah. Tithes is a card that I thought was really cool when Origins came out because it's kind of a taxing thing, but I either want them to attack or not at all. But the mana cost usually dissuades people. But she also wants to... My angels need to attack. That's the thing. Okay, we got to make cuts. Yep, you're gone. Baneslayer, so iconic. I think Swords and Path are both not going to make the cut. It's disappointing. All right, let's do type search. What kind of removal do I have? Bantron, Beast, Cyclonic, Croson, Turn, Unexpectedly. I don't have a lot of creature removal. I have 2 board wipes. Bant Charm, Beast, Wargate. The reason I'm honestly struggling is because they both have such pretty promos that I want to put in decks. I think I can cut them. They're in enough decks. They're so cool, but I'm trying to get down to 3, and they're probably not going to make it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 angels are in the deck right now. I would like that number to be 15. Which means... Or 16. Everything's an angel except for Thassa. Goodbye, Baneslayer. Hello, Jubilation. Goodbye, Bruna. How much card draw do I have? I'm so struggling. Wargate. Tameo. Definitely kind of counts. Kind of, sort of, not really. Ojutai. Mortal Sun. Gotta remember Mortal Sun. tutor. I have a lot of tutors, not a lot of card draw. Omniscience. Oh my god. I like how I'm saying, oh my god, my own card. Kindred Discovery is a big one. Herald's Horn's kind of card advantage. Quicksilver, no. Heirloom Blade. I'm putting the Bident in. Goodbye, Karmic Guide. I just can't. I have to make cuts right now. Is there anything finally that I cut from the bottom? I know I'm not talking much, but we're so close to being done here. This is like every cut really is a tough one. Maybe it's finally time to cut Mind Sensor for an angel. I don't need to be that trolly, I think. Plus, it's not like I have a pretty version of it. 2 cards. I now have 2 spaces left. If I cut one more card, funny enough, I can just add them all. No, I can't. I can only add 2 as of right now. Why did I think I could add 3? Chroma, always. Angel, Aura, Amazon, Zorius. Like, I feel like I need more creatures just to make sure I always have creatures in hand. I think I have to take Curve into account here, and that means I have to take Field Marshal because it's a cheap angel. The amazing thing about Janara is she doesn't even need to do much. Like, if I could just play her on turn 3, she could be a blocker. I love Linvala, but that 3/3 angel has always trolled me super hard. Even though Titus Lunter, my former favorite Magic artist, he's now second place to Magali Villeneuve. She's my favorite right now. Hedra the Artificer is gorgeous, but Serenity is so pretty. Maybe I cut Serenity. Yeah. I think we just did it. I think I just designed my commander deck. I like a lot of this. I really like this. There's a lot of top heavy, bottom, just some fun stuff going on. I think I'm happy with this. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm happy. I think I'm happy. Thank you. So yeah, I think we're good here. We're at 123. Just to make it a full hour and a half video, because fuck it. I like torturing you guys. I'm kidding. But let's do the mana base real quick, since I said I wouldn't, but we have a few minutes. So let's pull EDH Rec over to my other monitor. Just because I don't want to do split screens on you guys. I'm going to Bant for EDH Rec. And I'm just picking the top one. Derevi is the top one. All right, so let's just start adding some lands. Can I? What does this do? This is already the first sec. Oh, I can move it around. I don't want to delete the section. Move to sideboard. It's so funny that sideboard's still here. What are all these dots? I don't remember. Set? Oh, you can set what set it is? That's funny. Huh. Oh, yeah, you can... I forgot that they had, like, added... Okay, fine. I'll just fucking pick one. Jeez. Automatic, sure. Fine. That's if you want your visual representation to match, probably. All right. So, Seaside Citadel is the land for the 3-color land that you always run. Hollowed Fountain, Flooded Strand. Those are the that's the shock and fetch land for blue-white. Then we have Temple Garden and Windswept Heath, which is the combo for white and green. And we'll do blue-green just to have them. Breeding Pool is the shock land. And what's the hell is the name of the fetch? Why the hell can't I remember the name of the fetch for blue-white? Or for green-blue? Misty Rainforest, that's what it is. Like the second most expensive one, too. Let's do... Ooh, these are both... Oh, sweet. I have both of those? Hell yeah. Glacial Fortress. And Sunpetal Grove are both the ally versions of the... I forget. They all have cute nicknames for all these dual lands. They basically, if they see a basic of the 2 colors, they come in untapped. I don't really need Reliquary Tower in this deck, especially if I want a chance to discard. Hinterland Harbor. I don't need a lot of blue. Like let's look right now. If we look at it, how it looks, you can see the color breakdown is still over half white, and Mana Source is almost even right now. So what we should focus on is having things that are white and one of the other colors. Like, oh man, the cool thing about having the ally colors for the first... most of my decks only have one ally color pairing. What that means is colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like Kess. Actually, no, Kess has 2. Lycia has only 1. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm talking to myself. Okay. The point is, there's a lot of land cycles for quote-unquote ally color lands that were never made for enemy color. So I have more land options for white and green and white and blue, which is what I want right now. Instead of mostly going to blue-green, I'm mostly sticking with the other colors so I can unevenly do my lands. So let's do Canopy Vista and Prairie Stream. Oh my god, if I could spell Prairie Stream. Yep. These lands, if you see 2 basic lands of any color, they come in untapped. But they're great to fetch early when the shock lands might later on... because if they can be tapped at the time, then they're even better. No, I don't like that. I always like running Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds in 2-color decks. Or in 3-color decks. In 4-color, they're not really that good, but getting 1 color, especially when I usually need white, but sometimes I need the other ones. I don't mind. Do I want the Cyclers? Yeah, probably. Irrigated Farmland and Scattered Groves. These are both have the basic land type, come in tapped, and you can pay 2 mana to discard them and draw a new card, which I usually won't be doing with this deck, but it's worth having the option open. I like Reflecting Pool in these decks. Reflecting Pool in decks where you have most of the colors you need, it comes in untapped, is just really, really good. Yeah, I can't get the... I'm not getting the original... the original duels. I'm not looking at... I can't look at staple cards. It's like, here's the Bant staples, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to see what I might have missed. No. All right, let's check lands for Janara herself in case there's something I missed that might be better with her. I guess, doesn't really look like it. The other reason to run lots of white and something lands in this deck is because so many of the cards don't need... There are almost no cards that need only blue and green. That's the other advantage. Like, if you look, that's all... Janara's all three, green, blue, green, green, blue, white and blue, green and white, all three, green, green, blue, green, green, and white, blue, green and white, blue and white, blue, green and white, green, green, white, blue, green, white, blue, green, 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 white, blue, green, and white. So I almost never need to share the colors. See, look, this mana source distribution is almost perfect right now, actually. This is almost exactly what I would want out of this distribution curve. Yeah, those should be in there. The turn colors into another color for those. Yeah, and this is a case where I'm fine with the ally colors being the only ones that exist. And I have a foil of one of these. Mystic Gate. So they either make colors or they turn a white or a blue into double white, blue, white, blue, or double blue, which is amazing in this deck because I can turn my useless... If I have to play a giant white angel, I can turn 1 blue mana into 2 white mana, which is fantastic. Same thing with Wooded Bastion. Same thing for green. That's fantastic. Was that whole cycle reprinted in Masters 25? I don't actually remember because the enemy one is in there. Flooded Grove shows that it was. Where's card image gallery? Were they all... Oh, they were all reprint. No, they weren't. Only the enemy ones were reprinted. Oh, interesting. Huh. That's why I have the Cascade Bluffs in my Argent deck that I got from a buddy at the store. Huh, okay. Yeah, I don't want that. Yep, that seems good. That sucks. How much is almost $20 for a Wooded Bastion? Yeesh. Oh well. I don't think anything else really needs to go in here. I don't really want to dip. I'd rather have basics at this point than like the come into play tapped lands that don't really offer anything interesting. Is there anything? I don't really need Rogue's Passage. Opal Palace is a maybe for sure. And then I'll throw the temples in. That seems like a good idea. That'll get me up to 87 cards. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that. All right. So, Opal Palace is a commander card that if you pay 1 and use it to cast your commander, you get 1/1 counters on your commander equal to how many times they cast it. And Janara already adds more 1/1 counters, but she's so cheap she could die a couple times and then be really worth. And then the Temple of cards. These are 2-color cards that come into play tapped, and they scry 1 for you. And considering how much card advantage is useful, I will get the white-blue and white-green ones. What's the other one? Oh, whatever. I should be able to guess. Plenty? Yeah, guessed it. And then 87, and then we will add 13 basic lands, probably in something like a 9/2/2. Let's do 8/3/2. That seems pretty good to me. So 8 planes. Oh, God. Did it just add 81 planes? It probably did, because I'm an idiot. Oh, it put it in the main deck, I bet. Yep. Didn't mean 81. Gotcha. 2 islands is fine, and 3 forests, because I have a lot of early ramp stuff that's forests. All right. And with that, we have a deck. Whew, wasn't that an exciting hour and a half? I know I was excited. 100 cards on the nose. An exact 4 mana curve average. $553. Wow. A lot of that's coming from the lands, though, that I just added at the end. If we sort by price, we can see what the most expensive stuff is going on. And how much of it I already have. Lyra Dawnbringer is not going to be super expensive. I might not have a Misty Rainforest. I got to get the Omniscience. Don't have an Ulamog. I do have a foil Mystic Gate already. I already have an Avacyn. I don't remember if I have foil... Urza's Incubator, I think I have. Sigarda I need. So I already have a couple of these most expensive cards, but then I'm also going to get foils and stuff. Wow, there's a lot of cards that are $10. Cyclonic Rift, I already have a foil. Hallowed Fountain, I have a foil. So yeah, I have some. It's probably going to be a bunch of money, but I already have a fair number of these cards. So sweet Caroline. But anyway, I think we did it. We just made a commander deck, and it only took an hour and 35 minutes. We took 100 cards and cut it down, and that's awesome. So I'm really excited to let's just look at some opening hands, because the cool thing here is you could be like, oh, look at the starting hand. So this would be actually pretty keepable, even though there's no creatures. Turn 1 Irrigated into turn 2 Forest into Reflecting Pool Cultivate. And then probably turn 4 just Sella. This is sketchy. I don't love this. Probably would throw that one away. I could cast Bident with one more land. And I just hit it. I was like, no, yeah. See, this is the problem, though. There's a lot of expensive cards in this deck. Nope. Can't even keep that. That's eminently keepable. Just because with such expensive creatures, if you need to keep it... So that's no lands. This is probably not keepable. Turn 3 Omniscience with nothing to show for it. But anyway, I'll play with it and tweak it, I'm sure. But, yeah, there's my Angels deck. Thank you all so much. If you stuck around for this journey, I appreciate it. My name is Timpedia, and maybe I'll see you guys at a store playing this... No, I'm kidding. But thank you all so much for listening and taking this commander ride with me. Until next time, my name is Timpedia, and I will catch you guys later.